Everybody, got another week's worth of hitting drills for you. We're going to take you through 6 hitting drills today, and very little equipment, as you'll see. We're going to use a rolled up pair of socks, we'll use PVC pipe, we'll use a frisbee, so very basic equipment today. And tape, okay, don't forget tape, we're always using tape. So we're in our garage here, and got tape on the wall, and you'll show what we're going to do with that here in a few minutes. First thing that we're going to work on is skipping the stone. Okay, one of my new favorite drills that I've picked up from a few coaches I see doing it, and just love it because I think a lot of kids struggle with something. We talked about this connection. We talked about connection and I think last week's drills, and I want to show you this from a different angle. So we did the connection ball in last week's drills where we actually had a ball underneath our arm and we're trying to keep everything together. From the backside view, when we go to hit our body angle, we should have that angle with our bodies. Okay, we should have that curve in our body, and shoulders should be pointing down, unless it's a high pitch. If it's a high pitch, if it's a pitch that's up in the zone, then we're going to have less of an angle, okay? So if it's a pitch that's high, our shoulders aren't going to have that angle that the shoulders will have if it's low in the zone. If that ball is lower in the zone, our shoulders are going to be pointing downward, okay? So skipping the stone is a great drill that, again, like I said, I picked up from other coaches. And if you think about skipping a stone in the summertime, you take a stone out in the creek or pond or wherever, and in order to get a good skip on it, you've got to throw from that low angle. You just don't take a stone and throw it into the water because they're not going to skip. So you're taking that stone and you're trying to skim it across the top of the water. So for this first drill, I've got a rolled up pair of socks, garage wall. I got 2 targets. I've got a lower target and an upper target. I'm going to get in my stance. I'm going to put my left hand, across my chest. My right hand is going to start where I usually start my bat. I'll take, a small stride, and I'm going to try to skip this stone, skip these socks into those targets. So we'll go low target first. Okay. Pick up the socks, and then we'll go high target second. And what you want to see is, or what you want to feel is the shoulder angle. So for that high one, my shoulders are here. For that lower one, my shoulders are down here. You want to be able to feel that difference, because that difference is going to help us get on that proper plane with the ball. What we don't want to have happen is, for that lower pitch, we don't want these hands to get disconnected from our body, because that's what a lot of us do, a lot of younger kids do. Their shoulders stay flat and their hands come down away from their bodies, disconnected. So Jonathan, once you run through a few of these reps, just do one low and then one high. Get nice and comfortable in your stance. Okay, nice and relaxed. All right, whenever you're ready. All right, good. Okay, see a nice curve in his body there. Little downward angle with the shoulders. Now he'll do the high one. Good. His body was more upright on that high pitch, but he had a more of a downward angle with that low pitch. So that's our first drill, skipping the stone with a pair of socks. All right, everybody, second drill that we're going to do is just a progression from that first drill. So again, we're going to be skipping the stone, but this time we're going to be done with our PVC pipe. Okay, hold that down. So we got our PVC pipe here. Okay, we got our PVC pipe. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to get back in our stance. We're going to take our socks in our right hand, and we're going to take that PVC pipe and extend it out in front. Now, if you remember from last week's drills, we did something very similar. We held that PVC pipe out in front of our front foot with my left hand. For right hand, or for left-handers, it'll be this way. So I'm holding this PVC pipe out and hoping that it's straight vertical here. And last week we just worked on the hip rotation. Now today, let's combine that with the skipping the stone. So essentially what's going to happen is when Jonathan comes up, or I'll show you a couple reps too, the player is going to throw the socks into these blocks, but they want to use the PVC pipe, hold on to the PVC pipe the whole time, and now skip the stone here. A couple things that this does. Number one, it really forces you to get down because you want to skip it underneath this arm. Now we don't want to see this like you're pitching in a softball game, okay, which you might see some of these young kids do. You want to get under that front arm. And as you can see from my body angle, I'm really forced to get under, okay? A big reason why I love this drill is it combines two things. The proper angle with your shoulders, but also not pulling this front shoulder out. It forces you to stay in on that front side. Okay, so we're really kind of killing two birds here with one stone. All right, we are working on getting the proper angle, keeping our hand connected with our body, but also we're working on not pulling that shoulder out and bringing that pipe down. Okay, so fantastic drill. Absolutely love this one. So let me show you how it works. So I'm right-handed, so I'm holding it here. If I were left-handed, I'd be doing it this way. Now, the only complication comes in here is if you bat right-handed and throw left-handed. And I know there are some guys out there or vice versa. If you bat left-handed and throw right-handed, because then you'll be throwing with your off hand. Work through it. You know, I've seen some kids do it really well. Okay, so just try it out. So now again, my target are these blocks. So I'll start with the low one. Okay, so I'm here. I got my proper setup. And I'm skipping the stone underneath my arm inside the PVC pipe. Now we'll hit that top one. So I'm going to skip it under. You might want to raise your arm up a little bit so you can make sure you get under because you won't have that big angle. Okay, so I'm getting under. And at the same time I'm getting under, creating those proper angles, I'm keeping that front side in. Okay, now, Jonathan, you want to step up here? Now, young kids may tend to struggle with this a little bit, and here's what you might see with young kids. You're good. You might see young kids go in slow motion, Jonathan, act like you're going to throw it, and guys, slow motion, just don't throw it, and stop. Young kids, they may take their hand too far, and you might see them hit their hand against the PVC pipe. And relax for a second, and grab it. You see these kids doing that because their hand gets away from their body. Okay, if you step over a little bit, Jonathan. Their hand gets away from their body. The hand has to stay close to that body, connected. Okay, so the kids really shouldn't be hitting their hand against this pipe. Make sure the pipe is far enough away, their arm should be straight. Okay, pipe far enough away. Their hands should be close to their body and they shouldn't hit this pipe. All right, Jonathan? There you go, pal. And get set up. Whenever you feel ready, go ahead and go. Nice and easy. Good, excellent. Look at that angle, good angle there. Okay, creating a good path with his shoulders. Right, and we'll do one more, Jonathan. You can raise your left hand on this, just because this one's a little bit higher. Okay. All right, nice and easy. Okay, make sure you're getting under that arm, staying inside that pipe. Looking over that top block here. Okay. All right, a little awkward, and that's fine. Most kids are going to be awkward doing this, but most kids are awkward riding a bike for the first time. Okay, so no big deal. So as the kids work on this and do more and more of this over time, they're going to get, finely tuned at it, and it's going to feel comfortable to them as they move on. All right, but again, skipping the stone, great drill. Working on our, creating a proper angle with our shoulders, with our bat, staying connected with our hands. Set up your targets. Roll up a pair of socks. Good to go. All right, everybody. Next two drills that we're going to work on are going to involve a frisbee technique. So a lot of coaches use these drills. I think they're phenomenal drills to work on extending through, prevent rolling out. So I want to show you from a side angle first. When hitters hit, when we make contact, we want to extend through the ball, okay? Get through the baseball forward. We want to hit and come through. We don't want to hit and roll immediately out. And you see a lot of hitters do that when they fly that shoulder out. When they fly out with that shoulder too early, they can't hit through the baseball. Okay, so they're losing power, they're losing pop on the ball. We want to be able to stay at contact, get through, and then come out. Okay, so I'll hold that for a second now. So what we're going to do is take out our socks again, rolled up pair of socks. I'm going to be shooting for this top block. You're going to take the socks in your bottom hand. So for me as a right-hander, it's my left hand. For left-handed hitters, it would be your right hand. Okay, so I'm going to put my socks in my left hand. I'm going to get my stance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stride and I'm going to throw the socks and try to get the socks into this block. Now, this is a short distance. If you have the chance, extend out, okay? If I pull my shoulder out, if I yank my shoulder, I won't be able to throw these socks forward. They're gonna fly out to the left, okay? So, I'm here, I come through, and I throw, okay? Socks go forward. Pick them up again, I'm here, and I throw. Now, one thing that you want to watch for that your players don't do, and I'll show you from the side, you don't want your players to be lunging forward to try to place the ball or the socks into the target. You don't want them doing this. You want to see from the side here, okay? You want to see them with that nice frame, that powerful frame, working through and then up and around, okay? So Jonathan, why don't you take a couple reps here? Good, and try to work on, a little bit more rotation there with the hips. Good, excellent, very good. Stay behind that front side, okay? All right, thanks, Jonathan. Here you go. All right, so well done. That's just a fantastic drill for kids to do. Again, just need a roll up pair of socks. I would recommend possibly extending this distance because the further the distance is, the truer you see that ball flying. If you got kids that are really busting that shoulder out, that ball is going to go off to the left, or for lefties, it's going to go off to the right. Okay, so Frisbee drill with a rolled up pair of socks. All right, everybody, we actually now have a Frisbee. So we're going to progress from the socks and actually use a Frisbee. You can use a paper plate if you don't have a Frisbee laying around the house. We're going to use a Frisbee here. Kids, make sure you have your parents' permission if you're going to do this against the garage door. We're just going to do a couple reps here. So make sure you have your permission, kids, if you're going to do this against the garage door. I don't have a problem with the plastic Frisbee and shouldn't really do any damage to that door. Unless Jonathan gets really inaccurate and he starts to hit the window up there. That's a different story. All right, so same concept. We're working on making sure our hands get extended. Okay, we want to hit through and get extended. We don't want to yank out and launch something out there or for righties off to the right side. Now, you're not going to hold it with one hand. We're going to hold it with two hands. I have seen variations with one hand, and that's fine. But I like what I've seen with the two hands, okay, because now we're getting the top hand and bottom hand involved. So we're going to get in our stance, batting stance here. We'll take our stride, and we're just going to launch forward, okay? So as you can see, we're covering the same technique, the same skill, just using a different object and involving both hands now, okay? So we'll do that one more time. I got both hands on my Frisbee here. If I'm left-handed, I'm doing it this way, okay? So I got both hands on the Frisbee and on my normal batting stance, normal stride, and then I'll launch my hands throwing my hands out in front. And again, making sure we're getting that extension. Jonathan? All right, now, see where that Frisbee went? So we got to make a correction, okay? So now, what we got to focus on this one is making sure Jonathan gets through, his hands out in front and through and not pulling off, okay? Making the adjustment, nice and easy. Right. Good, that was better. After that, all right, so again, another great drill to making sure we're getting the proper extensions through the ball and not pulling off into the side. You know, this doesn't lie. You know, Jonathan threw that Frisbee over there for a reason. You know, maybe he wasn't launching his hands, you know, directly in front. Maybe it was because his shoulders were pulling out. You know, we've got to find out reasons why we're not doing what we need to be doing. Make those adjustments and go forward. Okay, so we made a slight adjustment on that second one. Had a little bit better of a result. Okay, so this will tell us where this ends up. It'll tell us exactly, you know, what we were doing during our technique and whether or not we need to be making corrections. Okay, so you could do this out in the yard. You know, we're here in the garage, but a good drill to work on hitting through the baseball. All right, kids, next drill. This is one that I don't recommend you do in your garage unless you're supervised. This is something that you'll probably want to do outside in the yard. But, you know, ask your parents first, okay? One of the best drills that I think kids could do is a very simple drill. Throw the ball up in the air and hit it, okay? It's a drill that when I was young, I used to read a lot of biographies on, you know, baseball players, Roberto Clemente, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and one of my favorites was a book on Ted Williams. And Ted Williams is arguably the greatest hitter of all time. And one of the things Ted Williams used to do as a kid, he would just go to the park, he would take his bat, he would take little pebbles that he would find laying around, he would throw them up in the air and just hit them. And that's something that I think kids need to do more of. You know, we try to do this every once in a while in practice where we just get kids with a ball, throw it up in the air and try and hit it. And it doesn't go over very well. Why? Because kids never work on it. Throwing the ball up in the air and working on hitting it is great for a few things. Number one, hand-eye coordination. So as you're throwing this ball up in the air, obviously you've got to see that ball and then hit that ball. Okay, so that's one. The second thing is, it helps you work on your balance. If you watch kids do this, a reason why they can't hit these, you'll see kids throw them up in the air and miss, is because they lose their balance. They're not coordinated enough to do it. So we've got to practice that balance. We've got to practice that coordination. You see a kid throw the ball up in the air and they might throw it a little bit too far and now they're lunging for it. They can't get their other hand on the bat just right. It soon becomes comedy hour, okay? Last thing that I want to say about this is you've got to make sure that you're not promoting hitting ground balls. Don't have your kid go up to a field, if you're going to go to a baseball field, and work on hitting ground balls to their brother or whoever. We don't want to hit ground balls as hitters. I don't know why coaches have their players hit fungos or hit ground balls to infielders, unless they're a pitcher. I don't understand that. We don't want to practice hitting ground balls because we don't want to hit ground balls in games. We want to hit line drives, you know, balls in the gaps. Okay? So I got a real light ball here. I'm just going to take a half swing. Okay, just want to show you what I'm talking about is we're going to throw this ball up in the air. I'm going to throw it up in the air. Since I'm right-handed, I'll take my left hand, put it under my right hand, have my balance under me, and swing. Okay? And swing. All right, it's just that simple. Go outside. You can take a rolled up piece of paper. You can take those rolled up socks. Take something that acts as a ball and go outside and just hit it. Okay, if you've got a small backyard, take something that won't fly that far, like a rolled up piece of paper, the socks. Okay, so you're not having to go chase it for a long period of time. If you live near a park, you could take a ball and go to the park. Yeah, you've got to go walk or run to get the ball, but so what? Get out there and go after the ball, okay? This is a phenomenal drill that I think is one that kids really should be doing more of. Unfortunately, they don't. Helps with the hand-eye coordination and helps with the balance. You got good balance, you're going to hit with power. You got good hand-eye coordination, you're going to swing and miss less. So get out there, work on throwing the ball up in the air, and hit away. All right, everybody, last drill that we've got here. I really like this drill. Saw this on the hitting vault with Coach Lyle. I think this is a phenomenal drill to work on hand-eye coordination. So one of the things that, as somebody who throws a lot of batting practice, what I routinely see is the heads flying off. And I routinely see when guys hit, their eyes, their head is squared up to me. It's almost like they're not even looking at the ball. I think they're looking at it at the corner of their eye, but when you get to contact point, your head needs to be here. Okay, you hear a lot of parents, say this, hey, little Jimmy, keep your eye on the ball. Exactly. Okay, their parents are right. Keep your eye on the ball. Now, players will yank their heads off when they try to hit the ball too hard. That shoulder goes, their head's gonna fly. So we got to do a better job of keeping our head down, keeping our eyes on the ball. So what Jonathan's going to do is he's going to get in his batting stance. And go ahead, Jonathan, why don't you get in your stance? Okay, he's going to have left arm here. Yep. And I'm going to be down there probably just in front of the camera, and I'm going to flip him a ball. He's going to go through his normal swing almost, and he's going to catch the ball with his hand. Okay, and in order to catch it, he's got to see it. So I'm going to flip him the ball. He's going to go act like he's taking a swing, and he's going to catch the ball with that right hand. Ready? Good. Very good. Here we go. Again. Ready? Good. Excellent. See his head, his eyes are laser focused on that ball. Look at those eyes, laser focused. Okay? Do this last one and pause. See those eyes? Laser focused on that contact point. That's exactly what we want. Excellent, Jonathan. Very good. So that's a drill. Yes, you do need somebody else to work with you on it. I'm sure mom and dad, during these times when we're all cooped up, somebody's going to help you out with this one. Okay, so have somebody flip you balls and you're working on that. Okay, and do exactly what Jonathan did. We're pausing at the point of contact so we can really emphasize keeping our head down on that baseball, okay? So we just ran through 6 drills. All 6 drills can be done with a ball. We used a PVC pipe. We've got our tape. We brought out a Frisbee. If you don't have a Frisbee, get 2 paper plates. Again, 6 more drills that you can combine with the drills from last week and really, really attack hitting. Even though you don't have access to go to an indoor facility to hit, maybe you don't have 2 dozen balls that you can take to a park and go hit. So there's no excuse as to why you can't get better at hitting. You now have 2 weeks worth of drills that you can work on. Now get to work, everybody.